I think mermen are real, and like somebody was saying earlier, we're all related to like merfolk. Like this guy definitely is. Look how agile he is on his scooter. You're definitely related to mermen, aren't you? Like it's totally obvious. Have you met any of your ancestors? No. Where is a good place to meet them? What?
I'd like to though.
Come and join us. We're just chatting about mermen. We're thinking that affected by global warming, which is like slightly a shame, because it's a shame there's no more mermaids kind of popping up now there.
Well, we had someone earlier on ask about where are all the mermaids and mermen, and apparently, yeah, the plastic. Apparently, exactly. Come and sit down. Come and get involved in this conversation. No, you should be proud to discuss these conversations.
Take 5 minutes out of the sun.
In you come. Let's give them a round of applause.
Yay! Yes. Take a seat. No, sadly not.
Water. We've got plenty of water.
We've got plenty of water. So, sorry, what's your name?
AD.
AD.
Mikey.
Margot.
So, you're talking about plastics there. Does that worry you?
I suppose it does a bit, yeah.
Yeah?
Too much plastic in the sea, isn't there? So all the fish are going to eat it, and then it's going in here, isn't it? Because I like the fish. It's going to kill the fish as well.
It's going to kill them?
I'd like to think, I imagine it will. I don't know, I could be wrong.
Yeah. So what's your name?
Kobe.
Kobe.
Toby.
Toby.
Charlie. Sean.
Sean. Are you worried about? Oh, go on.
No, I don't think that the plastic's that bad for the fish, because it's not poisonous or anything. And I think our issue with it is it just looks horrible. I'm not saying that we should have it, but I think it's more that it looks horrible than it's actually dangerous for fish.
It can't be good for them to eat it.
No?
I said it can't be good for the fish to eat the plastic, surely. It doesn't digest, does it? It just stays in their hole.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's good, but I just think the reason why we don't like it is because it just looks horrible. Like, you go into the beach, you see all the plastic on the beach, it looks horrible, but then you sort of go, rather than go, oh, that looks horrible, you go, oh, that's bad for the environment.
Okay.
No, being on the beach rather than in the sea.
Yeah, but I think it's all moved on a little bit. It used to be that people didn't like plastic because they could see it on the beach and thought it was terrible. Now they've realised it's a much bigger problem and it's creating whatever in the oceans. And I think most people have kind of moved on. And so have you. You know better than that.
So, go on.
No, I've said my bit.
Said your bit. Said your bit. Are you worried about humans eating the fish? No?
Because the thing with plastic, like, okay, if you can see it, that's bad, but also like there's this like microplastic that like people, like, you know, you drink it with water and stuff like that, and that is like probably even worse, and you can't see it, but you know it is affecting you. Like, I don't know, like, does it give people cancer? I mean, I don't know what it does, but you know, it surely can't be good. Definitely killing mermaids, that's for sure.
Is there
Killing mermaids.
definitely killing mermaids?
Oh.
Is that why we haven't seen any? Or mer people, I think, is the
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Equality and all that.
Yeah. You worried about health?
Am I worried about what? Sorry?
Your health and the plastic that you're consuming?
Well, you know, I'm more worried about all the pens I used to chew at school and break into pieces in my mouth. Now I found out that plastic's bad for us. I probably think I've got my fair consumption of them already. But I do eat seafood a lot, so who knows? Maybe, yeah.
I think more of a worry in seafood is things like dioxins and PCBs, which are chemicals actually related to plastic manufacture.
Oh, you're so like...
But no, no, but I don't eat. I'm not bothered about it because I don't eat seafood. But that is concentrated in seafood because it dissolves in the fat. But that's a chemical rather than the actual bits of plastic, which I don't think are that much of a problem.
So you've gone from like, oh, I think it's because people like look of it, to oh, I think it's about PCBs and like the exposure to like cancer. I mean, you know, make up your mind who you are. Are you trying to dumb down or dumb up here?
He's our resident devil's advocate.
But maybe if we made the plastic packaging a little bit more pleasing, and I genuinely mean it, you know, if it was just like, because clear bags, they're functional, whatever, but they're not particularly like beautiful. But if they were like slightly elaborate, like little collectibles or something, you know, maybe that's better, and people can, you know, that kind of stuff.
Are you worried about the ink that you used to, the amount of ink you used to drink?
No, it's not so much the ink. It's like, you know, those plastic pens like Bics, and you know how when you bite them, they kind of split and bits crack off. And I always had a pen in my mouth the whole time I was at school, and swallowing bits of plastic by accident.
Okay.
And presumably I was poisoning myself.
And look at him now.
In fact, I think there should be some research into whether chewing a pen is bad for you, because lots of kids can't help it, like me. I just couldn't stop it.
Yeah, there's always ink explosions back in my day.
Oh, really? So that couldn't have been good for us either.
I mean, who knows how tall I would have been?
Yeah. Or you
I could have been a giant.
you might have been running Thames water.
I might be. This is Southern water. That's the rival, but it's okay. It's okay.
Merge them and then run both.
Would you rather beer fountains or water fountains? Beer fountains or water fountains along the seafront?
Beer fountain.
Beer fountains. Yeah.
No brainer.
No brainer.
Let me know when it happens.
Yeah.
Beer or lager?
Yeah, beer or lager. Yeah. Yeah. Take a seat. Take a seat.
I would love to sit down. It's my first time in Brighton. So
Wow.
we'll have a little walk around, get an ice cream, get a beer.
How can
Yeah.
How can it be your first time in Brighton?
Yeah.
29 years of age, never been to Brighton.
Yeah. Where are you from?
Essex, yeah.
Oh well, you've got the seaside there, yeah. It's not the same though.
It's not.
Not the same.
No.
I think it's really nice. Brentford.
So South End, basically.
Yeah.
That's more closer to
Yeah.
Yeah, but South End.
What's your name?
Sam.
Sam.
Well,
Take a seat, Sam. Take a seat. Well,
Sit down.
so beer. Sorry, what's your name? L. Take a seat, L.
your first time in Brighton.
This is like the best crash
This-
introduction.
Yeah. This is it. We're Brightonians, so we can tell you where the good bars are.
Come back.
All right, take care. Hey.
Was it like, what do you choose, fountain pens or water fountains?
Oh, fountain pens or water fountains? God.
Sorry?
No, sorry, it's just like, I don't know, it's like, do you prefer water fountains or fountain pens? No, that makes no sense. Anyway, move on. Sorry.
Depends if I wanted to write
Depends.
or have a drink, I guess.
Depends.
So, are you from Brighton?
I'm not. I'm from London.
Okay.
In fact, I grew up near him because he's from Brentwood and I was from Hornchurch. So I commiserate with his experience of the South Coast because, when you live there, you always go to Southend or Canvey Island and places like that. And I have to say they're a bit miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas Brighton is a lot brighter, lighter place.
It's depressing.
It's not as depressing as
It's depressing.
South
I'm so depressed.
Canvey Island. You've been there.
I quite like Canvey Islands, but all the Jews are out walking on a holiday, bank
You can't
holiday.
say it like that. That sounds racist.
No, they are. They're all the Hasidic Jews. The Hasidic Jews. When the Hasidic Jews are all out walking. Anyway, Kieran, I was going to ask whether I should propose to Rashid when I were in Italy, in Rome.
I'm not coming. Sorry, no, they can't have personal
Oh God, no,
Why
no,
not?
no. What's your name?
I'm Graham.
Graham.
Matthew.
Mikey.
Kieran.
Margot, and I think it's a great idea to propose to somebody by the seaside.
By the seaside,
Great idea.
Not in Rome. Not in Rome. Is that boring? By the Tivoli fountain.
Oh, a water theme.
Or maybe... Okay, I think you're just being rude. Just because we're homosexual. Do you know what I mean? We're not all into water sports.
I think
Oh, I got you wrong. No, sorry.
Wrong kind of water. Southern water.
Southern water. Yeah, Thames water people don't behave like that.
I think there's something
It's a
like
Brighton thing.
we were kind of half jokingly talking about it like hours ago, where people kind of
Saying it was going to propose
to something. He was going to propose something, and he has, and he just sank. Anyway, but I was just saying that we all kind of somehow feel compelled to go to the seaside to kind of connect with nature, and we were kind of jokingly saying that's because we're related to mermaids. That could also be true, I don't know, but I think there's something quite beautiful connecting to a natural kind of water place like a seaside or something, maybe mountains as well. It's just something like a human being connected with nature, and I think that's quite profound. Good for proposing.
God, you're such a hippie, aren't you?
I think if you're going to do some proposing, then you need to get a bit more romantic and go with the flow. And actually, you know, you might think, oh, this is a bit hippie and a bit self-conscious, but actually, in the end, if you'll get further with a bit more romance, I think.
Something about romance by the seaside. Are you into that? No, but I think like when you're by the seaside, I mean, being in the seaside it's quite romantic, no? I mean, do people agree? Like, I don't know. It's romantic, no? Has anybody ever been proposed to on the beachfront? I'd love that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Would you want to be proposed to by the seaside or in Rome? No. Just quickly, shout. Rome or sea? We will never know. But the lady in the green dress, you strike me as a person. Hello, ladies. Basically, would you like to be proposed to by the seaside or by a water feature in Rome? It's very specific, but that's what we're talking about. A fountain. Rome? Why?
Water feature in Venice, which is where I was proposed to.
Ah, there you go. Take a seat, guys. Take a seat. Good choice.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I cried.
Oh.
With happiness.
Yeah.
I'm a bit shocked.
Were you drinking
Yeah.
I'm a little bit shocked that your husband had to remind you that was something you should say.
That's why I married him. He's got a good memory.
Right.
Graham here is wondering whether he should propose to his boyfriend in Tivoli, which is outside Rome.
No, it's Trevi Fountain.
No, by the Trevi Fountains in Rome when he's on holiday with him. And I'm just wondering, does he really want to get married? Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Tax, darling, tax. It's all about the tax. Yeah.
What is it? 50 quid a year?
We don't do romance.
Take a seat. Sorry, what was your name?
Tallulah.
I'm Matt. Hello.
Emily.
Coco.
Graham.
Matthew.
Oh.
Mikey.
Kieran.
Margot.
And I'm Harla. So how long ago did you propose?
Oh, just yesterday.
Yesterday.
It feels, the time in between is just like shot past.
Excellent.
I think we were talking 18 years. Wow. And the lovely thing was, we got in St Mark's Square in Venice, and we sat down, had dinner, met the couple next to us who were really lovely, an older American couple who were absolutely loaded, and at the end of the night, he tried to pay, and they'd already paid.
Oh,
on our engagement night. Really good result, considering it was a super spenny, lovely place. And we remained friends with them, and they came when she was born and stuff, and sent us wedding gifts. So it was one of those lovely special nights.
So have you carried on using that one though? Whenever anywhere you're romantic, chat to the people next to it, say you've just got married or whatever, and it kind of ends up the bill being paid. It sounds like a good go.
Has it worked more than once?
It doesn't work quite so well with the kids though.
But I mean, this is what I was trying to say to you earlier on, Graham, is that romance pays. It pays to be romantic and to actually and you actually sort of believe in these things, because then things happen, like you get your meal paid for, and you get to live the rest of your life happy and satisfied, rather than not, because yeah. So if you go, I would do it for tax reasons, it might be true, but it's not. It's, people need the story, they need the belief.
Yeah, I think you've got to suspend the tax thing. That can be in the back of your mind, but let's pretend it's about love.
That's why I thought it should be in Italy. It seems more romantic if I do it in Italy.
Why? Because they avoid tax. Yeah. Because they avoid so much tax.
You can't go, darling, do you want to get married for tax reasons? No. So you can go to Italy and go, would you like to marry me? It seems romantic. That's my point.
It was very romantic. I had asked her a number of times in a few pubs in northwest London. And it's not the same effect, and every time she had said the same thing, like, ask me when you're sober. So yeah, going to Italy, going to Venice, very romantic, very special, and I was very sober.
Very sober.
No, you're nervous because this is the thing. It's like you're putting yourself out there just in case. I mean, if you know the other person, but just in case they say no, I guess it's like you're putting yourself at risk. And I think alcohol helps with that, which is why we were saying that we should have like beer taps like along the seaside, because you know, just like get one for courage.
I personally think if you've done a spreadsheet with all your tax on it and you've worked out that it's cheaper in the end being married.
It's not very romantic.
Excellent.
And it depends what turns you on. I'm sorry.
I can smell divorce already.
I would like to know, you know, just what would you? Because you've come up with a very good answer. If you don't want to say yes, if someone proposes to you and you don't want to say yes, what kind of things can you say just to sort of like, you know, yeah, like if you don't want to just say cushion the blow. Like I like this. Like you ask me when you're sober or something like, oh, it's not the right place and time. What are the kind of things you could sort of use to deflect that question?
I think you could say, I believe in paying taxes, so no, darling.
Yeah.
What would you say? So, Coco was interviewed recently for Australian television about the royal wedding.
Yeah.
And what was the advice you gave them?
Stay on the aisle and don't fall over.
That is good advice.
So what advice, Coco, would you give if somebody was going to ask you to marry them and you wanted to say no? How would you say no?
No.
I like that. Yeah.
There's something to be had like with like people just being like completely straight, just like giving like a very definite, clear answer. I mean, if the other person gets offended, it's like, oh, I wish you said it differently. Then that's their problem, essentially.
I have to say, my real reason for not wanting to get married is I've always said marriage is wrong until it's equal, and it's still not equal. It's against the law to get married in any religious institution, and there should be no laws that are not equal. And so I've always said I will not get married until the law is equal.
Okay.
Because we're a secular society.
I don't think it's against the law to get married and thing. It's just they can't enforce them. But church.
You can't get married in the church.
Really? So even if the
Unless you're a man and a woman.
Oh, right.
Right. So even if the gay chaplain wants to marry two people, he's not allowed. Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's the law to get married in a church, in any religious institution, which vaguely means humanist as well. Okay. But my partner's Muslim and I'm Christian, and we want to be able to get married in a Christian institution.
No, you're not Christian.
I know. Why? Principle, darling, principle.
I just don't understand, why do you want to like fit into like the Christian, you know, like what is it about? Like you don't get any tax benefits from that, that's for starters, sorry, just to let you know. And secondly, like why do you want to be like part of this whole thing? Was it tradition? Because then, what? Why?
Because we got married in a church, and they're very beautiful, and they provide an absolutely glorious. You know, I mean, it's like a 15th century church, which is gorgeous. And even if you're not into the religious aspect of it, being able to have somewhere that's seeped in history and gorgeousness. Well, you've heard the expression, you pay or you pray.
Is that a tax charge or?
Yeah, that's the way you get your children to really good schools.
Oh, is that?
Church of England. I'm there. I've organised a church fete for the last 8 years.
Excellent.
I've heard it was a really good one. Actually, it was a really good one. Yeah. Where do you live?
Fulham.
Fulham.
Well, we have a flat here as well.
You know what? It all sounds very conformist to me. I mean, if we're getting married in churches and pretend to be religious, so we can get into schools, and you want to be Christian, and I mean, where's the radicalism? Where's the like? Let's change society.
I think true love can stand up by itself. It doesn't need the institution of marriage to prop it up. Not saying anything about, you know, any proposed marriages on the table, but I think, you know, if you need an institution to actually say I love you rather than just being able to say it, you know.
I agree, but that's what I used to think. And then when we did get married, church thing to one side. There is something about standing up in front of all of your mates and your family and saying, I want to be with that person, and like just kind of committing in front of everybody that you know. However you want to do it, doesn't have to be in a church, doesn't have to be in a ceremony, but just standing up and going, we're going to be together. That for me kind of had a lot of weight. You know, it wasn't kind of nothing. And that's not why we're still married, but it was a big thing. It was a big thing.
But you're saying that's not kind of like church related or religion related. It's more like a kind of public declaration. So that's what I mean. Like, I mean, yeah. So if for instance, like say, I don't know, like McDonald's bought this church out, like this cathedral somewhere, it's beautiful, and they just kind of like, you know, did like wedding, you know, you've still got the tradition, like company runs it, not church. You know, it's the same.
It's all about you, because that day is all about you. It's not about your family, it's not about your friends, it's all about you. And obviously the person, obviously the other person. So if you want to get married at McDonald's, you want to get married at church, you want to get married on the beach, God, do it. Do it.
You just sold it me, because I like a day that's all about me. Just me, not my partner. Just me, yeah. I quite like that. Just call it Graham Day. I quite like it.
Hello, new people. Sorry, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Maria.
What are we doing here? Right, so this is a talk show. I work for Southern Water, and what we're doing is just having lots of very cool conversations. We were talking about the environment and plastics earlier on. We got onto weddings and proposals and whether it's more romantic to propose by the water, as some people have been proposing by water. And here we are talking about weddings, marriages and tax dodging, I think, is roughly what we're chatting about. So I'm just going to...
Beneficial taxes.
Beneficial taxes within the constraints of the law, within a legal framework.
You've got inheritance tax.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have to do something.
So yeah. All right. Let's have a quick whiz round with names.
Mikey.
Maria.
Louis.
Graham.
Coco.
Emily.
The dog.
Daisy.
Daisy.
Tallulah. Margot.
Chrissy.
Paul.
Yeah? What do you guys make of the whole romantic wedding gestures?
Well, I think they should be entitled to be married anywhere they like, church or not. I mean,
We've been together a year and we got married Easter Saturday.
yeah.
How long have you been married, sorry?
8 weeks.
8 weeks? Oh, congratulations! Newlyweds! Hey!
I think whether you're gay or straight, you should be entitled to be married in the church.
Yeah.
Being married in the eyes of God, sort of thing. You know?
Yeah.
Can I just ask you about, because we were talking earlier on, and maybe this will be useful for you, Graham. These people got married 8 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You were concerned about the proposal.
Yeah.
How did the proposal go down? How did it actually happen?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm really pleased.
Go on. Let's hear this.
It's okay, we won't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, a text message.
A text message.
Several.
It started with very naughty text messages.
Okay.
Well,
Alright.
developed into naughty text messages.
Okay.
As it does.
And you said, how did you reply? Was it an emoji or?
You're having a laugh.
You're having a laugh? And then,
I was very persistent,
right?
and it developed from there.
You do know we're all leading up for you to propose tonight. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a reason. See, the reason we brought it up is because he is actually going to propose tonight.
No.
His girlfriend paid us to talk about marriage and nothing else.
Right. Excellent.
But I'm now thinking that it's actually more romantic to actually text. Is it, and will that be seen almost as like the love letter of the future, the text message?
Yeah.
Is it more romantic to actually text a marriage proposal than to actually say it? Maybe with some water emoticons or emojis to give that sort of sense of.
Beach emoticons. I think beach emoticons would really do the trick.
So,
and maybe some stars.
Okay. Would that work? Are you guys together?
Emojis, yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, we're siblings.
Your siblings.
That would just be weird.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that. This is great.
Yeah. Is that something that you've considered, or?
Yeah, no, well, we are getting married.
Oh, congratulations.
But I think for us, we're not siblings.
No.
Let me,
just for clarity.
But yeah, I think the proposal is a moment of mostly symbolic meaning, and I think what's more important really is having a good, balanced relationship that you can found something long on. But like the proposal itself, I don't think is hugely important.
Where did you propose?
We didn't. We just agreed we wanted to get married. We just talked about it for a time, and then we said, yeah,
I
let's
think
do it.
I'd feel betrayed if he like proposed out of nowhere and we hadn't had it. Like, if it was a surprise.
So, if it was like fireworks, like over the Brighton beachfront, will you marry me? You think that would actually put you off in a way?
Emojis are real fireworks.
No, real fireworks. Would that put you off?
Yeah, especially if it was never discussed, or like if it wasn't. Yeah, either way, it's just kind of a little bit sexist.
There's this thing where some, I guess, more traditional people, and that's absolutely fine if that's what they want to do, will, for example, ask their partner's parents for approval or being allowed to do that. And that's fine if they want to do that, but we were saying, if we did that to each other, we'd feel like, well, why did you not speak to me first? Why would you ask my parents? Like, that sounds like not the right way to go about it. I can understand if, like, it's traditional.
He's got something
Sorry.
to say.
Sorry, can I just get your final thoughts on...
On what?
On anything.
I'm marvellous. That's my final thought. I'm brilliant.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
So not your children, but you.
Well, do you think the element of surprise is good, or are you?
I know we've talked about it a lot. I know, you have to talk about it, but then surprise.
Okay.
So that's where you went wrong, I think. You're supposed to talk about it, go, yeah. I now know there's going to be a yes.
So it's just a gesture.
And then you just put it on the back burner and then surprise them.
Because it's not. There's a lack of romance in what you've described, where you just discussed it and said, yeah, that's a good idea. Why not? Yeah, well, let's do it then. Okay. Well, when should we do it? I guess it was something like that. Yeah.
Did you do the spreadsheet and the tax to see? Did you do the tax? You didn't. You haven't done a spreadsheet.
So one of
the spreadsheet, the finances.
The spreadsheet to see how much
who's going to be better. Or
I don't think we get any. I think the tax benefits only are good for like really wealthy people or people who earn below a certain amount. I think we're like in the middle. We don't get anything. We don't benefit from it financially.
Checked. He has checked.
I didn't do a spreadsheet. I just read, will I benefit financially? But no, we won't.
So he's done the spreadsheet apparently. So do you feel betrayed that sort of you don't get like a really huge romantic gesture that you've had to do for your partner?
Oh, that's really odd, isn't it? No, because I know that I'll be the proposer. I'm the one with all the assets. No, I've got all the assets. Do you know what I mean? It has to be me doing the proposing, doesn't it? Otherwise, he's a gold digger. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't work. Like, I know you're just after me for my money. Do you know what I mean?
So the whole institution has a sort of built-in sexism, doesn't it? It's or power imbalance of one kind or another, because it's all about the person that is either male or has the assets that does the proposing. The one that feels that they're slightly kind of ahead in the relationship, and the other one's kind of, if they do it, they're begging to be married. I mean, that's why I don't like marriage. I think. I mean, I think I still put my finger down that I think it's an outdated institution. But I hear when people say, oh, it really solidified our relationship. I can't argue with that. But why are you two getting married out of interest?
You can say.
That's what you're going to say.
Can I just ask, is it in the water? Because we are here with Southern Water. And also, to add to that, I'd like to ask what Southern Water are actually doing for romance in this area. Are they actually promoting romance? Are they doing anything?
Well, I mean, what we're promoting is serving water at your wedding, as well as wine, as well as many other drinks.
Water into wine. Do you turn water into wine?
No, sadly we're not part of any religious institution.
No, it's not sad, it's good.
Can we just ask you, what are Southern Water doing for romance in this area?
Are we doing anything?
Well, I'm only £5 an hour, so we're doing quite a lot. We promote love and harmony. That's why we're out to speak to our customers and those that aren't our customers, and with other water companies. We try to engage and spread a little love. Water's love. It's fundamental to life, a bit like vodka in my opinion.
Would you consider, like in more religious areas, would you consider like tapping the holy water? Because that'd be quite good as well.
Is that a thing?
That might be a bit controversial because not every religion has holy water.
Yeah, you're Catholic, you. I was going to say you're bloody Catholic, but I can't say that. I'm a Catholic, so I can say that, I think, so yes. But anyway, I mean, what about the fact that it's a kind of sexist institute? Does anyone want to take that up or not?
I was just wondering, like, speaking of holy water, like, for instance, in Poland, because I'm from Poland, we have, like, the religious, you know, places of, like, worship. And then there are sources of, like, water and it's being blessed, so you get holy water. But the problem with it is that it's being sold in, like, plastic Virgin Marys with, like, you know, the screw top crowns. And it's just a bit like, you know, and over time it tastes of like plastic. But, you know, I think maybe, like, the church could, like, cut down on, like, memorabilia and, like, the plastic crap that kind of, you know, perpetuates the plastic in
do you think that's why people are so keen to...
Sorry, but I think there's quite conclusive evidence that Jesus was made out of plastic. So...
And he glowed.
Yeah, like LED light bulbs inside.
Wow. Sounds great.
So that makes sense. Like, you need to preserve the tradition. You can't just start selling water and God knows what.
Southern Water are bringing in a policy to get rid of as much single-use plastic as possible. Like in all our different sites and locations now in our cafes, they're no longer allowed to serve any drinks in one-use plastic containers. So you're only allowed to use cans. That's not from us. That is not from us. They're not my colours. Mine's slightly more grey and dirty than that. But we're looking to take away from single-use plastics. We do use plastic pipes, but a lifelong of the pipes we use is going to be for 70 years. So while it's only in the ground once, if you imagine within the wastewater network with Southern Water, there's 39,400 kilometres of wastewater network that we go from over in Dover.
You're not married, are you?
No. I'm available by the hour. I keep saying this. They don't pay me well enough, trust me. I've got to make a living somehow.
do we think that's why people kind of tend to get married by the water? Do you think there's some kind of religious romance by it? Is that? It's all the plastic. It's all the plastic that's...
I think civilizations flourished by water, and I think we're drawn to water. And it's beautiful and it's good for your mental health.
We are water.
I just want to say, like, most cities, as you say, are around water, but, like, for example, Johannesburg, I went to Johannesburg recently, and there's no real river there, and it feels wrong. And the reason why there's a city there is because there was gold there, but there's not a river. And I think we are somehow drawn to water. Maybe it's just because we need to drink it, but we are drawn to watery places, you know, and that's why we're all here at the seaside today, when we could be anywhere, really.
I mean, I think there's a theory that we were all fish at one point, and so I think somewhere in our DNA we kind of, you know, we used to eat fish, I guess, in the sea, so now we still eat them. But anyway, we're definitely aquatic, aren't we?
So we're back to the mer people conversation. We are back to mermaids. We were.
It goes back to the same thing, doesn't it? How does this happen? I don't understand. Earlier there was a conversation about mermaids and chopping legs off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do mermaids get married? Is there a tradition of marriage with mermaids and mermen and merfolk?
Yeah, with sailors.
Sailors.
Really, yeah.
Well, they certainly have a union, I think. Yeah.
It's an abusive relationship though, because mermaids entice the sailors to kind of, you know, drive the ships into their open. But also, you know, the Little Mermaid story, it's like a little bit sexist in itself, because like she gives up her mermaidhood for him, and she has legs and all the bits, but she loses her voice, which I think is just, I mean, I don't know, like, would you sacrifice something for your partner? I mean,
wow.
like, to such extent, that's like...
Wow. Being silent for a partner?
But that's the thing, would you really want to change? If your partner needs you to change and not be who you are, is that really an equal marriage anyway, to actually be different?
It depends what that change is. If it's like brush your teeth every day, or like, you know, just shower a little bit more often, I think that's fair enough. It tied you up a little bit, but and most women end up being silent in a marriage because he talks so bloody much, or that kind of thing. So yeah, maybe it's just part of it.
Yeah.
Well, seems to happen.
Yeah. So anyone would consider being a mer person? Would you live in the sea?
No, I've seen what floats in it.
You've seen.
The warm bit down there, haven't you? Yeah. It's the only place to go. Yeah.
I wouldn't want my partner to give up their fishy bits. No way.
Last thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Wise words.
You know, respect the water. Jesus is plastic. God bless.
Love, come on.
Yeah, love is really great.
Wow. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh.
I mean, like that makes me think: can love survive in an era of plastic where everything's so disposable? Can love survive in that kind of environment?
Ann Summers doing all right. I said Ann Summers is doing all right with a bit of plastic.
Excellent. And any more on that subject? Yeah, no, we've got more.
I mean, I don't know if it's related, but there were the fundraising kind of. Anyway, I don't want to say.
Go on.
No, because you're talking about Ann Summers and like plastic and stuff. I don't know what you meant, but anyway. But there's this thing called for forest, and they are all about natural sex, and they shoot porn films including like nature and like forest and stuff, and they're raising awareness about the green issues. Yeah. I think they're gonna be branching out, I've heard. As long as it's funny. Apparently comedy speaks to people. But there's this organisation, Fuck Forest, and they shoot porn films, but they are raising awareness about ecological issues, and there's no plastic involved as far as I know, and it's just an unusual way of learning about issues. That's it.
Excellent. Look at these guys. Are you guys part of a wedding?
You want to come and chat at the table?
Chatting about romance?
Plastic romance.
Loving the age of plastic. Is it fantastic?
Well, I mean, we did Talkaoke once, not with Ann Summers, but with was it Coco de Mer maybe, or something like that. It was about climate change, and what they were saying is sex is a good way to sell environmental awareness, because people are interested in love and sex much more than they're interested in, you know, turning the tap off when they clean their teeth or something like that.
Is that true? I mean, we've had a lot of environmental stuff here today. Are you guys concerned about the environment?
Well, I wouldn't have even thought about it until I heard it in the news about a year ago. Yeah. And I think everyone's the same. They wouldn't have known about it either. It's just because it's reported in the news.
Okay.
Well, so sorry, do you mean like the environment or the plastic issue?
The plastic issue. Yeah. Yeah, nobody would have known, would they?
No, but then isn't that the role of media and even Southern Water actually, to raise awareness of our behaviour slightly, and then suddenly we go, oh gosh, I had no idea. So it's good to know, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I'd quite like to see a collaboration between Southern Water and Ann Summers, just to see what you come up with, you know, in terms of like lingerie, you know, because you said about sex selling things, and I think whatever, I mean, people wear underwear, sure, sometimes people buy like fancy underwear, yeah, that's also true, and then if you can combine that with something that is, you know, raising awareness, I think everyone's a winner. And yeah, okay, it's a little bit controversial, maybe it's not the first thing they think about, but, you know, people have come up with controversial campaigns, and they proved to be successful. I can't think of any now, but...
Well, earlier on people came up with one around the merman fashion wear, swimsuit wear, that Rick visualised. I don't know if you want to... I know you're on your phone right now, Rick, but can you just show us the picture of the swimwear that you designed earlier on based on the conversation? Which was like mermaid, merman themed fashion. So I think it's actually already happening. This question, there we are, and we've got like a range here. We've got like a kind of plastic bottles sort of dress, and a kind of merman thing with a trident.
Why have they got urine-filled bottles over there? What's that about?
What are you talking about?
Right at the end, there's a urine-filled bottle.
No, that's cooking fat.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's a dessert spoon of... The last one on the end is a dessert spoon of cooking oil that's been in there for 6 months to show that it doesn't go, well, break down with water, just sticks to the side of the bottle. So we ask people not to put that type of stuff down the sink, or when they're using like frying pans and things like that, and people squirt in a bit of fairy liquid and rinse it round and chuck it down the sink, thinking it's going to go. It doesn't. It still stays in the bottom of the U-bend and slowly but surely makes its way into our network, which then causes fatbergs and problems because the size of the pipes from your house that go into the network.
What do you do with our fat?
Well, we've got some gunk pots over there for. So you've got gunk pots over there for meat juices and things like that. So when it goes a little bit hard, you can chuck in some bird seed, pop them out, make fat balls for the birds to hang in the trees. Or the local councils, the reclamation sites, if you bottle...
I actually have a bottle of out-of-date sesame seed oil that's gone a bit rancid. I don't know what to do with it.
Take it to the reclamation site and they'll be able to break it down and reprocess it, and the things like the yellow bus, that runs off old cooking fats and oils.
Really? Where?
Any of the reclamation sites, so wherever there is one in Worthing, like the household sites you go to, you dump your grass cuttings and all that type of stuff, they'll accept it there.
Do they have one in Southwark?
No, but that's Thames water, they're not as good as Southwark.
No, exactly.
They've got one in Islington next to Holloway Tube Station.
I'm not doing
But I don't know about South London, sorry. Look, I think we're going to have a change of host, but this is Hala's first ever time in the middle. I think we should give her a massive round of applause.
Thank you very much, guys.
We are actually, in fact, yeah. Sorry. I'm going to keep this conversation going. I don't know if I'll be able to. Unless, do you want to have a go in the middle? No? Okay. And Hala's chosen to go under rather than over. A big round of applause there. And some very interesting topics, all about love and marriage. Love and marriage and climate change.
When I came here this morning, I saw a sign. I think it was out here, I'm not sure where. It said 35% of the fish in the oceans are affected by plastic.
35%.
Is it 35%?
I don't know.
But I'd like to know who counted them.
Okay, how do we know
and
this?
Who monitors them?
Okay, do we know about the fish in house? Is this even on? Hello? Can you hear me? What about this one? Can you hear that?
No, I can't hear that.
Let me turn it up a little bit. Can you hear me?
No.
Sorry.
Hang on. Okay, whoa. Hello. That's better. That is on now. Okay, now we know. Okay, let me just get a round of names. We might stick on this question about fish and plastic. We might carry on with the love and climate change, the forest thing, who knows. Come and join in. We're about to start a new session, but let's just get some names of who's around the table. Some of you may know my name's Mikey. Who have got around? Let's start off with you.
I'm Paul.
Paul and
Chrissy.
Christine. And
Margot.
Matthew.
Matthew, welcome.
Graham.
And
Berry. Kieran.
Okay, so I mean, we're starting off a new session. It's kind of up to you where you want to take this conversation. Any particular thoughts? We've got this thing that Paul mentioned about the plastic and the fish. How do we know that? Was it 35 or 75?
35%. I thought I saw a sign with 35%.
Yeah, 35% of fish are affected by plastic.
How can that be monitored, or
how do people know about
do they
that?
pull the fish out to sea and test them?
I don't know.
It's a BBC.
Yeah.
It is.
Come sit down. Come and get involved in this. I'm going to take Paul. Well, at the moment, we're so far this afternoon we've been talking about marriage, proposals, fish, climate change, mermaids and mermen and merfolk, fashion. It's been everything. Right now we're sort of talking about fish and plastic. How do we know that fish are bothered by plastic? Do we really know it? And we've got some new faces to the table. So we've got Paul, we've got Christine, we've got Margaret, Matthew. What's your name?
Andy.
And
Shirley.
And
I'm Michael. Hi.
Michael, welcome. And we've got Graham, and we've got Berry and Kieran and Paul. Oh, we said Paul already. Anyway, so that's where we are right now. I don't know. Are you concerned about fish and plastic? Do you worry about these things?
I do now. I've seen David Attenborough being worried because I kind of trust him. Yeah, he's a kind of trusted sort of person. Once he gets worried, then I think that's a.
Yeah.
He turned me on.
I thought that when he said that as well.
You saw David Attenborough that turns you on.
Does David Attenborough turn you on?
No.
No?
No, I'm a legs man.
Okay.
Getting back to marriage.
Yeah.
Is it okay to propose to somebody if you're a legs man, if you don't fancy their legs?
Okay, interesting point. I mean, it's a bit of a diversion from the fish thing.
Your microphone's not working again.
This one's not working.
No.
Oh, that's got to turn it. Okay, we're back on.
I think that's back to the mermaid thing, isn't it? You know, legs or no legs. But but I think the thing is with David Attenborough, I think it proves that you don't need to be sexy about plastic and pollution because he's not sexy and the show's not sexy.
Right. Okay.
And I think like the levels
do you find David Attenborough sexy?
No, I don't. But, I mean, I do find his intellect quite sexy, but what I'm saying is like legs or no legs, whatever. But I think it's about like the intellect. I think to me that's quite a big turn on.
I mean,
so maybe actually say yes for David Attenborough.
Earlier on, we were talking just to fill you in. We were saying, do you need to have a sexy message to sort of talk about environmental issues? You know, like. Does it need to be sexy? And Kieran's kind of saying, well, no, it doesn't, because David Attenborough's not sexy, but we're still all now worried about fish. Anybody in Brighton find David Attenborough sexy? It's got to be somebody here. Yeah. Okay. What were you going to say, Michael?
Well, I don't think you do need to make it sexy, but if you do make it sexy, people are more likely to pay attention.
Okay, so it is. So.
Do we need Nigella Lawson doing the same show?
Is that what turns you on?
No, but apparently it turns you on.
Your average man.
Okay, so is Nigella Lawson a good kind of ambassador for climate change?
Would she not just be showing us how to cook and eat the fish then?
Yeah. Okay.
And possibly, if she slid open some fish, showed us how to gut them and everything, and then found
how to remove the plastic
on the inside,
okay.
to be a strong message.
So just as we're getting really, really excited, a total anti-climax. That's perfect. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, what do other people think? Would Nigella Lawson be a good person to sort of? Maybe Southern Water could hire Nigella Lawson to talk about the 3 Ps: pee, poo, and piss. I don't know. So, paper, people and paper.
And pubes.
Pubes as well. Pubes and puke. Could we get Nigella Lawson to talk about some of these environmental issues? Would it make a difference? Would you listen more to Nigella Lawson?
Of course not. No.
No. No.
Who would you listen to when you're like in terms of celebrities?
Does it need to be a celebrity even, in your view?
No, not really. I suppose not.
No. Okay.
I don't know why. But
Yeah. I mean,
not necessarily.
Okay, what do other people think on this side of the table? Do we need the celebrities to deliver the message like David Attenborough and Nigella Lawson?
No, but if they're not sexy, are people going to listen? And if they're too sexy, are people going to take it in?
Okay, so in a way you can be too... you can actually be too sexy for the environmental message.
Yeah, I mean, does anyone actually remember how to cook the food that she's talking about? Probably not.
Okay.
Nigella's, do you remember?
Do you think Nigella's too sexy?
I think she is too sexy.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I think she detracts from what she's showing you.
So you can be too.
It's all about secret eating in the night and things like that. That's what anytime anyone quotes Nigella, they never talk about. Did you try her recipe out? Wasn't it amazing? Never heard that.
Okay. We're talking about who's the best person to develop environmental messages.
I think we're talking about cooking. I'm sorry. I think you're wrong.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I think you need to get with the program.
Let me get Barry's point of view. Have you got a view on this?
What is my point of view on where? So I don't know. Are we talking about cooking? Are we talking about ambassadors?
Whatever you want.
I think the most important thing about about conveying a message is that you create an empathetic and compassionate element to it, and whether that's the intellectual abilities of David Attenborough or whether it's the seductive cooking of Nigella Lawson. Everyone brings a certain different thing to a table.
In a way, it's about empathy. It's about us kind of relating to the problem.
I have to say, I get really annoyed about this Nigella Lawson thing because she kills animals and she's just massaging fish and stuff, and I don't find that sexy in the slightest.
Okay, so you're saying that animal death is unnecessary?
Yeah, completely.
Okay, interesting.
Sorry, horrible.
What's that?
No,
What are you
it's
gonna?
unnecessary, horrible.
No, I'm just saying. Okay, that's a point of view.
Okay, yeah. Well, you disagree with that though.
I like meat.
Okay.
And fish.
Okay, what about
Can I just ask Graham? Graham, do you eat meat? Chicken, sausages, bacon?
No, I don't.
You don't?
Eggs?
Fair enough. Eggs? Well, eggs is not really...
Okay, I mean, can somebody? I mean, is David Attenborough a meat eater? Do we know about that?
Is it?
I don't know. Can somebody Google it? You think he must be? Yeah. Yeah.
He'd declare it otherwise, wouldn't he?
It would make
He's the wrong generation to be a vegetarian.
Okay, so it's okay for David Attenborough, but maybe not Nigella Lawson. Are we guilty of double standards here?
I think it's also important, like, you know, in that conversation is where you get your meat from, you know, and that kind of stuff. You know, if you get factory farm meat, then yes, I completely agree with the argument that it's slightly wrong to do that. But at the same time, if you get grass-fed cow, then it's probably more vegan than not eating beans.
They're killing half the cows. So half the cows have to die for you to get that. And
what do you mean they're killing half the cows?
Because how do they keep the other half?
Feeding it grass.
Yeah. And the feeding the grass is taking up like 5 times the amount of grass that it takes for a vegan or a vegetarian diet.
Okay, so
it's completely unsustainable.
So meat eaters take up a lot more space and grass. What do you think about this? Have you got a view on this? Meat eaters versus vegetarians? Is it more? Graham is
somebody who's excited about water, and I think you ought to leave him while he's got somebody excited about water.
Okay.
He's not married. We've established that.
He might be excited as well about this idea. I'm trying to spread your vegetarianism, Graham.
You do that.
What do you think? Eating meat, is it an environmental disaster? Eating meat, as Graham says. Come closer, come in so that get involved in this conversation. What's your name?
Aiden.
Aiden, grab the mic. What are you saying?
Well, I think you should eat meat, yeah.
Why?
Because then you just got a freedom of, like, to eat what you want, haven't you?
So it's a kind of expression of freedom. What about the fact that it's taking up as... Hang on, I'm in the middle here, Graham.
I want to murder somebody. Am I allowed to do that?
No, but...
Is meat... Hang on, Graham, let's get other people's opinions. Thank you, Aiden.
I think it's very unhealthy, the amount of meat we eat now, but aren't we designed as omnivores? We should be eating a little bit of meat and lots of vegetables, and so by eating no meat at all, that's unnatural.
You're saying we're eating meat, we're eating too much meat,
far
but we
too
need
much.
a little bit.
Far too much. We're designed our digestive system, so we're designed to eat the bitter meat with our teeth, but we eat far too much now with fast food, and it's very unhealthy.
Yeah. I'm going to say, Graham, because it looked like Matthew was about to say it. Matthew hasn't said anything at all. Were you going to say something, Matthew?
Well, I just thinking, do you drink milk? Do you eat the byproducts of meat?
Did you see me have the Oatly?
That's true, actually.
Okay, so are you saying that do you agree with Aiden that we've got a right to eat animals and we've got a...
We need to be careful with what we eat.
Okay.
You know.
Careful. Okay.
I just want to go back to the point of, whether David Attenborough or Nigella Lawson or any other celebrity helps you getting the message. I think we do need a message, and I don't think vegetarianism or veganism would have been as popular as it is now if it wasn't for really crafty advertising and tempting people with.
You're talking about Mo Farah.
Mo Farah.
He did the but he did the quad sausages, didn't he?
No, I don't know. I didn't know that. But you keep on saying this in social media, veganism, and opening up and people that you follow, people that you are friends with.
So,
the trends
are important.
I think, and I kind of wonder whether how many of us would have been such devoted vegans and vegetarians if it wasn't for the fact that we were sold this as their better alternative to living. And I understand, whether you want to kill or not kill, but I think that message has to be packaged, and essentially everything has to be a little bit packaged just to kind of help and aid people with making their choices. Even though they may make those choices innately, I think they need some encouragement. Yeah, because there's peer pressure, everybody eats meat or everybody's vegan or whatever. So I think you just need to package.
Who would be a good sort of figurehead for vegetarians? Maybe we could ask Graham about this.
I've got no idea.
No idea. Do you agree with this idea that we need? If a celebrity comes and says, "Oh, I'm a vegan, I'm a vegetarian, I care about plastic."
Well, it depends who you are. If you're really stupid, yes.
It's It's from the base of political movements, from everyone from the suffragettes to the suffragettes. From the base of political movements.
Very far, did we? From the suffragettes.
Well, no, they've been a massive influence in so many layers of politics, even to this day forward. But that aside, you know, they always have popular figureheads coming in order to promote the message, because people listen to popular figureheads because they empathise with them.
Okay, so it's back to the empathy thing, Michael. Come and get involved in this. What do you think about vegetarianism? Do we need... You love it, okay. Who's the best celebrity to sell vegetarianism?
I believe I have the answer.
Oh yeah, Michael.
I think Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh. Why?
Winnie the Pooh. He likes honey.
It's not vegan though, is it?
It's really bad for you.
Vegan? He's vegetarian.
Yeah, he's vegetarian. Yeah,
right?
he's a honey
And most
eater.
of his friends are animals.
Yeah.
People love him. He's very friendly. He's easy to empathise with.
Yeah.
I think he'd do well.
Could Winnie the Pooh be the poster boy for vegetarianism? Rick, do you think you could visualise that? Winnie the Pooh as a vegetarian icon? Are you working on something at the moment?
He's not vegan though, is he? Or have we done that one?
We've done that one, yeah.
Oh,
We've done
okay,
it
right.
already. Yep, sorry. It's got to be a bit faster than that. Sorry, Kieran. Yeah.
Only that Winnie the Pooh is not a real person. It's like Halifax doing, you know, the kind of campaigns with like Top Cat and the Flintstones and stuff. Like they're not real characters.
Mermaids are not real.
No, I'm never gonna say that.
How dare you come to this country and say Winnie the Pooh is not real? That's outrageous.
Come and take a seat on the table of chat. Are you a vegetarian?
I am. We had this discussion
I know. I'm trying to make it look like it's a fresh one. I'm trying to make it seem fresh and real and live. Because we've got Graham here, who's also vegetarian, and he's basically saying meat is murder. He's going hardcore. But then we've got Margot over here, who's a bit more softer and says we need to get celebrities to tell us to eat less meat, and that was the way to go way ahead. So that's really where we're at. And then Michael suggested Winnie the Pooh could be the figurehead for vegetarianism. So I don't know if you got any views on that.
He just lives on honey, doesn't he? Though,
Yeah.
He only lives on honey, doesn't he?
Yeah. Is that a problem?
Yeah.
You think it is a problem? Would a honey-based diet? Have you ever lived on a honey-based diet? Come and get involved in this. This is Talkaoke. At the moment, we're talking about. What's that?
I don't know how. No, because I don't know how to do it in a humane way.
Okay. Are you meat eaters, vegetarians? Are we eating too much? Come and have a seat. Come and get involved in this. Don't worry, you're not alone. This isn't some kind of weird vegetarian cult. This is. There's plenty of meat eaters around, but there's also vegetarians here, and what's that?
We eat vegetarian food.
Are we eating?
Just say welcome to the really evil people who've just sat down at the table.
Okay, all right, let's just get around the names and just explain what's going on here. This is Talkaoke, it's a pop-up talk show. Can we get a final thought from you guys before you go? Give us a final thought. Come on, you might as well have a seat and we'll get a round of names. So, we got Michael, we got Graham, we got Barry. What's your name?
Alan.
And what's your name?
Stella.
And?
Sylvia.
Sylvia, welcome. And?
Kieran.
Paul.
Chrissy.
And we had Margot there, she's gone. And?
Matthew.
And?
Mark.
Mark, come and get involved in this. Well, it's a pop-up talk show. We're talking about anything at the moment. We're talking about vegetarianism. Should Winnie the Pooh be the poster boy for vegetarianism? We've got a lot of meat eaters around the table. Some of them are proud about eating meat. Alan,
Mate Piglet.
Come a bit closer because you're a bit
Wasn't his best mate Piglet?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. It might have been a sort of a double play there.
Yeah.
Would Piglet exist? You know, if we weren't going to eat him.
Yeah. I mean, is that like the sort of like sequel to Winnie the Pooh where Piglet gets spit roasted? I mean, how would that make the kids feel if Piglet got? How would that make the kids feel if Piglet got spit roasted?
By Tigger. By whoever.
You know. I mean, wouldn't it be a downer for the kids? I don't know. What do you think? Mark, you're a vegetarian.
I think as it's Brighton spit roasted probably means something else.
I don't think it'd even be a PG, that one.
Okay, we've got, is this a vegetarian shark? What's going on with this, Rick?
He's eating plastic.
Oh, it's a plastic eating shark. Okay, and which is vegetarian in a way. Will we all be eating plastics in the future? We were talking about this.
Well, we might be eating artificial beef made in Petri dishes because that seems to be coming on quite a lot. And apparently tastes great.
Is that the way out? Would you eat artificial meat?
Yes.
You would?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go. This is just for the vegetarians. So put your hand up. You're a vegetarian, Mark. Would you eat artificial meat?
Yeah, well, I kind of do already.
Really?
Yeah, well, I sort of make things out of tofu and stuff like that. And
do you eat quad?
Veggie mince.
Quad.
Tesco's is selling the steak, the bleeds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from Monday, from last year, bleeding steak. So would you eat a bleeding steak? It's meant to be really good. Yeah, no.
Okay, so the vegetarians around the table would actually eat meat if it was artificial, if it was kind of plastic.
I love meat. Don't get me wrong.
Things anyway, aren't
Yeah,
they? To a certain extent, like corn, tofu, things like that.
And what about you? Would you rather eat an artificial burger or a real burger?
I would rather eat a real burger, but I do like Linda McCartney, rosemary and thyme sausages.
Okay.
Yeah, really lovely.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I'd argue that sort of real inverted commas meat kind of isn't, because it's full of growth hormones. It's all pumped up.
Yeah.
And they kind of extrude stuff and put it back together again to make it look like meat. So you get like, you know, pig's noses and Christ's nose all ground up and sort of mixed. So it's actually, the idea is sort of real meat and artificial meat. It's a bit of a kind of non-starter.
So it's more about what the sauce is, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the mint sauce. I'm talking about the sauce of the. That didn't really go down well, did it? I thought that would go down better. Anyway, where are we going to go with this conversation? Have we done vegetarianism to death now? Do we need to move on? Should we have a quick sort of interlude and talk about some Southern Water things again, or should we just? Because we are actually here for. We are sponsored by Southern Water today, but I don't know. Okay, we've got some from Southern. Well, at the moment we're talking about vegetarianism. Is there any? Has that got anything to do with Southern Water?
I'm a meat eater.
You're a meat eater?
I am a meat eater.
Okay, well most of the people around the table...
Sex life now, please. I'm back on to...
Oh man, gunk pots. Who knows what a gunk pot is?
Yeah, I've got to give them one. What's a
gunk pot? So we're finding a lot of people don't realise the size of the pipes for their sewerage. So they're about 10 centimetres diameter. So we have on the leaflets.
Is that big or small?
It's small. You're looking about this big, as shown by my kind assistant.
Yeah.
This is the size.
It's small.
It depends what we're talking about. When I'm talking about your pipe work. It's like that there, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
We need to inform people that fats, if you are vegetarian, may not use fats, but need to be going in
Do
pots
vegetarians
like
produce less oil and fats, would you say?
I would say they do, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm getting a nod, so I'm guessing so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Meat, definitely more.
Yeah.
And I was a fine one to talk. When I used to love my bacon sandwiches in the morning, shove it straight in the sink, loads and loads of bubbles to get rid of the fat. It's not a good thing to do. So we have little pots. You'll have pots, you'll have things like butter tubs and whatever else tubs at home. So instead we have little gunk pots that we can fill up with the fat.
And what do you do with the fat afterwards?
That. Pop it straight in the bin.
Pop it straight into the sink?
Pop it straight out. Not in the sink. In the bin.
Yeah.
In the bin. Don't want to block up this little pipe.
Yeah, you can...
You can get them over here. I can go and grab some in
go and get, because otherwise I'll lose my audience. So we'll just stay here. We'll give you the freebies. Otherwise we're going to lose the audience. Yeah.
We get the police to go underneath.
Okay. I mean, what? I mean.
What about the beers?
What
about the beers?
What do you mean? What about the? Yeah. I mean, earlier on we were talking because apparently Southern Water are going to put some water fountains along here, but earlier on someone suggested it should be beer fountains instead. Would that work better? Should there?
Second that motion.
You think a beer?
I second that motion. I think a beer fountain's an excellent idea, but you'd need a good rotation so you've got decent ales on like regularly.
Okay, so
dark ales, not lager.
Well, people like different things. So some people like lager, some people like dark ales, some people like ruby.
Do we like the people who like lager?
Generally, people who are into craft ales aren't so fond of people who are into lager, because if you sit in a pub and you watch the people drinking real ale and you watch the people drinking lager, it's often the people drinking lager who are getting angry and aggressive near the end of the night.
Is there something in lager that makes people angry?
Yes.
Okay, what do people think? Lager? Does lager make people angry? We were talking about this earlier on.
So about 4-minute lager, yeah? As we're talking about lager, I'm just going to turn it onto a 4-minute shower timer, trying to encourage people to use less water in their household.
So the idea is you tip one of these up, and if you have to drink your pint by the time this goes
That's
to
not
the
what I'm
bottom.
saying, but we're talking about beer, so I thought, you know.
All right. Okay. So,
Drinking your lager in 4 minutes and downing it in 4 minutes.
And what happens? What happens to the lager once it's been drunk?
You might feel a little lightheaded.
Okay.
Dysfunctional. Depends how many you have.
Okay. Okay. Where do we want to go with this conversation? I am slightly confused, and I'm supposed to be the one holding this together. So.
Are we talking about dysfunctional relationships?
Okay. Do you want to talk about dysfunctional relationships?
Are we back to me?
Well, maybe. I mean, maybe the relationship between pale ale drinkers and or real ale and lager drinkers is a dysfunctional relationship. I mean, are we not getting on well enough in our pubs if the lager drinkers are not getting on with the pale ale drinkers, or the gin and tonic drinkers, or the stout people?
By the way, with these fountains, what we're going to have to do is introduce a height thing so that like 8-year-olds can't reach it,
right?
Unless they're on their own and they can get on each other's shoulders, which is fair game because they're on their own and they're allowed to drink.
Yeah. Oh, we've got Rick's actually visualised the Stella fountain here, but Michael wouldn't like that, would you? You'd prefer a different sort of beer.
I would, yeah.
Can you name a beer? Maybe Rick could change it.
Well, just a decent APA would be fine.
A what?
Decent what?
Oh, that's an American pale ale.
American pale ale.
So they tend to be pretty hoppy. Well, Dark Star, who are based in Partridge Green, they've got a decent APA, which is just called simply APA.
Okay, APA. Okay, right. Well, maybe Rick can change that. Maybe he's focusing on something else now.
I think it's going to have to go by like areas. If it's a working class area, I think or a very middle class area, you can have your whatever it is you drink. I don't think it should be imported from America. That doesn't sound very green to me.
Yeah.
This is done down the road. The hops are American style hops. So I don't know if they actually import them from the States, but it's the style of brewing that makes it APA. Just like India Pale Ale isn't brewed in India.
Okay.
Brewed here.
Thanks for explaining that, because I never really understood all these pale ale things. Come and have a seat. At the moment, we're sort of talking about Let me get you a final thought from you, Barry. I'm just going to explain to these new people. This is Talkaoke. It's a pop-up talk show. We talk about anything. Right now, we're sort of talking about should there be beer fountains along the seafront? Would that be a good idea? You say yes. Let me get a final thought from you.
As far as ales and lagers and that kind of stuff, as long as you avoid like the really glucosey kind of stuff, like Corona and Budweiser and that kind of stuff, you're fine, I reckon.
Okay, so anything apart from Budweiser?
Yeah, the glucosey stuff, like.
Glucose? What?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
even know.
horrible way of making beer.
Okay, beer made with glucose.
That's good.
Come and have a seat. Come and get involved in this. We've got some new faces, and maybe.
So you mustn't drink Lucozade now either.
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying. He's anti-Lucozades. Let me just get some names. So we've got Michael. We've got Graham. What's your name?
Gloria.
And Alan. And what's your name?
Stella.
Stella and Sylvia.
Yeah.
And Kieran, Paul, Christine, and Denise. And you're going to come and get involved in this? If you're not, then maybe you should take your coat away so that someone else. And what's your name?
My name is Vlad.
And
Bill.
Bill. Back to Michael again. And my name's Mikey. And we've got a spare seat if anyone wants to come and sit down. What's your name?
Eloise.
Eloise. So right now we're talking about should there be beer fountains along the seafront? Do you think it's a good idea if adults had more to drink when they go out to the seaside?
Yeah, that can be an idea.
You think it's a good idea? Okay,
Yes.
excellent. Because it's been endorsed by the kids. Anyone think it's a bad? Does anyone think it's a bad idea? The beer fountains thing. Does anyone think it's a bad idea?
Yeah.
You think it's a bad idea?
Like people who have problem with addiction, I think there's a risk of them abusing them. Sorry to put down on it, but I think, you know, if
alcoholics would kind of just live there.
Yeah, it would be like occupied potentially.
Okay, so 24/7. So that's
occupied like Gaza. Do you mean? In the same way. I was just changing the conversation completely to a political angle.
Okay, well, the Occupy movement.
Occupied like Gaza.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think alcoholism and how we as a society use alcohol and what we use it for, I think it's a political issue as well.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I think, you know, I think governments and maybe even church and like other institutions, they have a role to play in promoting people, stopping the kind of alcohol culture.
Are these? What you're saying? They're promoting drinking, or they're Demonising.
They are not discouraging people from drinking.
Okay.
Because like back in the day, there were big campaigns across Europe around kind of, you know, early 20th century, when people acknowledged the fact that other people who work in factories and stuff, they experience accidents and stuff, and that is and
so there's
that's
an anti-drinking campaign, but we don't have that anymore. That's what you say.
Yeah.
Historically, we've been more anti-drinking. Now we're not so much.
Governments love beer, keeps people quiet. Beer and television and football.
Yeah.
And if they're going to legalise beer, why don't they legalise marijuana?
Okay. Are you in favour of legalising marijuana?
Yeah.
Well,
decriminalising it.
Yeah.
I mean, it causes so much. What causes trouble with marijuana is it being illegal.
Okay. And what about other drugs?
Most of the crime committed in the country is because of drugs, trying to get drugs. If you legalise them and licence them, it just become like cigarettes and alcohol, and people would treat them with more respect. Besides, we are supposed to be adults, and can we not make our own decisions about what we eat and drink?
Okay. What do you think about this, Eloise? Do you think that this should all these drugs should be legalised? What about alcohol? Should that be made illegal?
Well, sometimes when people are drinking, every twice a day is better than every time.
Okay, so sometimes people may be drinking a bit too much.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe we should go the other way and just like be fair and make alcohol also illegal.
Okay, guys, I will start from the point that I've been working as a bouncer, and I saw all these happy beers and fighting beers and everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Here in Brighton.
Not at Brighton, but generally in UK.
Yeah.
Okay. And the thing is that as much as people say that, oh, I'm here just for the happy beer.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, it's getting as a fighting beer. All right.
Okay.
And they expect bouncers to sort the trouble out because they are making. And after the thing is somebody have to like back up them or something.
Okay, so they rely on the bouncer.
It's a one thing, but they just just giving you a picture. The other thing is all of us we need to agree that we're having stress, isn't it?
Yeah.
Day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And we have to find the way how to get out of the stress. All right. So to get the pint of beer, it's easy. You're getting to the pub and you're just getting your glass of beer and you just like. Assuming that you're hoping that it will be a happy beer, but the matter of the fact is that we need to find the way how to get out of the stress. It can be gym, running. It's discover yourself. There is no one way of. For instance, I like gym, but I cannot say that every single one have to like gym. So it would be just stupid.
What about marijuana? Would that be? If everyone was stoned rather than drunk, would that make your life easier as a bouncer?
Let's put this way. Look, we have young lady sitting next to us. All right. Yes, but I'm talking about very young lady. All right.
Taking a home.
Okay. So we need to be absolutely realistic about that. She's not using alcohol, and hopefully she's not using marijuana, all right? And she's fine.
Yeah.
But as soon as we're getting older, we're trying to assume that we need some sort of substance what will make us happy.
You think actually we shouldn't be relying on the substances.
But look, just a pure biological process or chemistry processes that our conscious getting changed, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just if you're putting something into your blood system, it changes your behavior. We cannot just say that it doesn't. But we need just to be real about that. The other thing is people say, yeah, but I can't control it.
So you're
potentially yes.
In a way, you're sort of saying we need to think of other things that are not either any substance related, be it drugs, be it booze, but actually be something more to do with our own body. That's how we should be relaxing and enjoying ourselves.
Knowing what their tipping point is, knowing when to stop.
Okay. So it's also about self-knowledge. But will it ever be possible to actually just, oh, thank you, to actually be able to step away from the booze and the other drugs? Will it actually ever be possible? You say it's possible, but is it possible for everybody?
It is. There's just been a fabulous article in a newspaper by someone called John Craich. It's in The Guardian.
Oh yeah.
His life was falling apart. and he got it back, and it was falling apart because of heavy drug addiction, the sort of thing you're talking about, heroin. Yeah. And nobody. It's a wonderful article. I recommend you find it. And his final thought is, don't demonize it. Get to know it.
What do you say? Not too well.
Heroin.
Yeah. Go on. I mean,
I didn't want to say anything more than that.
Yeah.
I think there's a level of hypocrisy, and also, like, you know, there's this. We seem to be, like, as humans, we seem to be really aware about some things, but not the others. So, for instance, you can be very, very aware of, you know, oh, eating meat is bad or whatever. Just to kind of like anchor it in something we're talking about. But equally, you're happy to drink all different kinds of beer, but all the while what you're doing is like you are putting money in pockets of people who's like, oh, I know what's going to work for this like bunch of like random people, like just the society. I know how to control them and make money out of it, and that's to produce alcohol. And you're like, oh no, I've got a choice. I can drink pale ale, or I can drink Heineken or whatever. Like, bullshit, you don't have any choice. Like, you just do what you are being kind of programmed to do. That's it.
So are we kind of slaves to the machine in that sense? Well, no, because I wanted to come back to you because that's not really what you were talking about. You were talking about a sense of control. Am I right? Is it about?
Look, I'm coming from the Russian background, all right? And basically, what is happening that most of the alcohol production out there. It was, and I believe it still is, controlled by government. And when the government is struggling to get any type of source of money, they try to put the price down on alcohol just to make it affordable, all right? And when the economical situation in country goes lower standard, well, people try to get rid of stress. Why? How? Everyone knows, like, Russians like to drink vodka, all right? And afterwards, okay, I don't know how many Russian people you've been meeting, every single person here, but I was meeting quite few because I'm one of them, all right? And afterwards, when you see people drunk and they do stupid things, which cause a lot of consequences in the future, you think, but is it really one bottle of vodka could really sort all your problems out, all right? Of course, any government trying to get money, because they need to do money just to get money, to cover the holes in the budget. But as we know, most of them, they don't like to put a lot of effort to make money. They just like to get easy money.
So they could actually be investing in the people rather than just kind of like taxing the people. Maybe. What do other people think about this? Is this whole booze thing, is it because we're too stressed and we're, in a way, it's the government making money out of us, our love of beers?
Well, yes, it's what you're talking about is socialism. If they were true socialism, where people were treated equally and decently and with respect, there'd probably be less stress, and therefore there'd be more happiness, and people would drink for pleasure, as you're doing now, and not out of desperation.
Well, you say that.
So don't start from here. Start from there.
Okay, so you think that socialism would actually mean people would be less stressed?
Real socialism.
Real socialism.
Real equality. Real equality of opportunity, housing, and da-di-da-di-da. You know what socialism is. Never been practiced yet.
Okay. I mean, what do people think? Anyone got any views on that? Would socialism? Are you off? Are you just going for a cigarette and come? Or maybe if you can sit down here, Kieran, have you got a view on this? Would socialism make people less stressed and less dependent on booze and drugs?
Can I come on? Because it could be like misinterpreted, because like socialism, the one version of it could be like loads of booze for everyone, as opposed to we don't need booze because we've got other things which are more important, you know. So it could be misunderstood. But also, like, what I don't like about the fact that oh, there's an alternative chat going on. But what I also don't like about, you know, Graham, I'm trying to make a very important point.
The point you're making is that it could be booze for everybody. Socialism could be
one point I'm making.
Alcohol for everybody.
And the second point I'm making is I still definitely think that this is like some form of manipulation. It's like, you know, it has been discovered that women are more, you know, they're more loyal to the brand or to a habit, which is why when, you know, the smoking was popularized among women, like women, once they started, they just wouldn't easily give up smoking because they're just so loyal. And somebody tapped into this potential in women, and you know, and that's what kind of keeps the tobacco.
In socialism.
Well, no, I don't know.
I think you got a little problem with a perfect socialist society, which is that when people have got like a lot of leisure on their hands and also like automation and all that kind of thing, people tend to just turn to alcohol. So look at the Costa del Sol. They retire, they think, oh yeah, I'm going to do whatever, and then they just kind of hit the booze at 12 o'clock. So
So in a more relaxed society, people might drink more. Socialism, is it the answer? Denise, I come to you.
Oh, I was just saying, I can't wait to finish work and have a glass of wine. Would you, I know where I'm going after it.
Would you, if you finish work at 12 o'clock because you lived in a socialist utopia, would you drink more or less?
Oh, probably more. If I was yeah, but it depends on everyone else.
Yeah, okay.
Depends on what everyone else was doing. I might go for, I don't know, you can get, it's quite sociable going for a drink on your own sometimes.
Yeah,
I've worked in a pub environment as well, so when you're going into that area and you see your locals, then locals become friends of yours, it's more sociable.
So, okay, so if socialism is more sociable, you end up drinking more. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I believe we need also to raise a question about what is real friendship is. Because a lot of people say, oh, because I know you, because you are John or Lucy, does this mean we're friends? But the matter of the fact is, we're not. Because being a friend, you have to be responsible.
We're not friends.
All right, it's one thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is because I used to work as a young lady next to me, told me that I was working as a bouncer, and I saw that basically people Friday, Saturday, Sundays are coming to the pub. Why? Just to get rid of stress, to express themselves. Because from Monday to Friday they are so compressed.
Yeah.
So this is the way how they can express themselves just because they're drunk, and now they feel it that they can do it.
Yeah.
So my question is, why you cannot find the way how to express yourself from Monday to Friday?
How do you?
I mean, I think what you're saying is that in a socialist world, you would have less work pressure, less stress, so then you wouldn't need to have this kind of pressure.
Look, let's put this way. It's one thing. The other thing is we probably have to touch the topic of financial literacy, because a lot of people don't really understand the matter of the money, where they're coming from and where they're going to. It's one thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is there is plenty of opportunities to express themselves: singing, dancing, painting,
self-expression.
You know what? Helping your community, maybe working with the kids or something. Because quite often we feel down because it's about me and myself. Give me, my name is Jimmy. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of say, okay, well, maybe I don't feel well, but what can I do for you? Or maybe I can do something for you.
So in a way, helping each other actually helps you.
You just have to step out of your personal life and say, okay, maybe my life is not so well organized, but may I help you?
Okay. How do you think your socialist utopia idea has gone down in terms? Do you think that people?
The Aborigines of Australia only worked about 2 or 3 days a week because then they had enough, and the rest of the time they played, and that didn't necessarily mean they drank.
Yeah.
And I'll throw something else in. Money does not exist.
Okay. Okay.
Well, mostly when you get money, you just spend it. Then you think, oh, what can I spend otherwise?
What have you spent money on recently?
Well, you just get money so you can pay the bills.
Yeah, is that what you've been spending money on?
No.
Okay, have you spent money on anything recently?
Yes.
What?
A computer.
Was it worthwhile?
Yes.
Okay, so in that case it was worthwhile. Well, we're talking about money. Does money exist? We're talking about a socialist utopia where you don't even need a drink because everything's so nice, you don't actually need to drink as much. Or do you need to drink even more? This is the question. And money, does money exist? Eloise is saying money, you just end up spending it. It comes in one hand, goes out the other. She's just bought a computer, which was worthwhile, but generally you spend money on things you don't really need, I suppose. Stella, have you got any point? Alan? Yeah.
Just a last statement, because I have to rush, because people are waiting for me.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you very much for really meeting everyone, guys.
Well,
great people. It's the first thing.
Let's get
the other thing is, guys, we just need to be real. When we are standing one by one next to mirror, and you look in yourself, and you say, "Wow, are you proud of yourself? Are you happy where you are?" Just be honest.
Yeah.
And when you're honest and you say, you know what, I do respect what I see there, so you're on the right path. If not, we can just guessing. It's all this game about guessing. Oh, whoa, is it worth to do that or not? Let's try that or that. Discover yourself.
So you've got
this is my suggestion is, please speak to people whom you think they're wiser than you. Start to read the books. All right, start to travel and see the things. Simple as that, guys. Love you, but I have to run.
Thank you. Thanks for your contribution. Don't forget your ticket is that for the I360?
Oh, I'm going to get a free ticket.
So look at the man in the mirror, as Michael Jackson said, or the woman in the mirror, or the person in the mirror, the merman in the mirror. We were talking about mermaids and mermen earlier on, so that's only a callback for Margot, who was the only person here at that time. A point.
For the last 200 years, we've been able to produce everything we need.
Yeah.
Technology, even simple technology, means that everyone could be fed, everyone could be educated, everyone could have freedom. The problem is it's a very crowded world, and we don't need to impose socialism.
Yeah.
It can arise, and I think the recent stuff about artificial intelligence is actually very hopeful. It's going to be something we have to handle very, very, very carefully. But I think there could be a good life for all and freedom for all.
So potentially this could lead to freedom for all. And there's the other. So what was your name again? Sorry.
Bill.
Bill was saying that potentially we've got all the resources we need. We just need, in a way, the technology to distribute that a bit better. And you know, we can use artificial intelligence, but we've got to be careful with it. I don't know what other people think. Do you agree with this? What do you think about artificial intelligence?
Well, if kids are at school, I don't know if they want to learn it or
will they need to learn it, or will the artificial intelligence learn them?
Yes.
Okay. Will you need to go to school in the future with artificial intelligence? Come and get involved with this. What do you think? What, are you worried about robots taking over? Okay, yeah. What's that, Sylvia?
I was just saying, bless her, she does go to school, she said.
Yeah, she does go to school. She's still learning, even though maybe you won't learning, just need to ask Google in the future about stuff. Grab the mic, Alan.
So should the capitalists, we use someone like Branson, obviously he's risen from a van up to an empire that he's made himself. Should his workers then go, we want to be socialists, give us all your wealth, share it accordingly?
Sure, I mean, like for Virgin Trains and everything.
I mean, it's a case of like, this man's built, I'm using him as an example obviously.
Yeah.
We're talking about a socialist type system, republic, call it what you want. Should that then be risen to go, people like him, people of Lloyds, people of HSBC, regardless of their nationality and background, should they be shared? Should everything be shared? And then how will that then continue? Because at some point there's still going to be a leader. There will still be a leader of some sort.
Yeah. What's that?
Everyone will be equal.
I mean, do you think that? I mean, how's it? I think the question is really how is it actually going to happen? How is it going to happen? Maybe we're talking about socialist utopia here. Do you believe in it? And how is it going to happen that Virgin Trains is going to be taken over by the workers? Would it work, Michael?
I think it's probably less important to redistribute the wealth than to provide for everyone. So we've got the resources and we've got the technology to provide food, clothing, education, welfare for everyone. That can be done. What we don't have is the political will to do that. I think it's less important about taking the money from people who've got lots and moving it around, rather to provide for everybody.
But I mean, if
and from there, then what will develop?
Why is it such a problem to spread them out a bit more?
Well, if you try and say to someone, excuse me, you've either worked really hard to get the money or you were born into it, now we're going to take some of it away from you, there's going to be a lot of backlash. However, how could anybody possibly argue against the idea of providing basic necessities for everybody? Then we have more freedom,
Tell Theresa May that.
Okay.
They have the necessities for everyone in this country, and they don't utilise it to the full potential for themselves, which we then come back to alcohol and things like that.
So you're saying
There's
that
quite
people
a
are
lot.
provided for already?
God, listen, there's so much unemployment in this country that needs to be looked at, which a lot of people are fiddling the system and they need to be looked at, basically. And the reason
So you think
being,
there's certain people that are not actually contributing?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Working with the public, you see it all the time.
Okay.
You look around and the people that are supposed to be so-called unemployed people are working, earning money, and also claiming off the state.
Okay.
And this is seeing it from being in the front as well.
Okay. You had a point?
Well, Theresa May's taking money from schools. That is very not...
What do you mean she's taking money from schools?
Well, she basically is...
Yeah.
So we have to help our people
Yeah.
very, very goodly, otherwise they won't learn anything.
But I mean, I think the point that Sylvia's making is if you help some people, sometimes then they just take advantage. Are they taking advantage and they're not doing their bit?
Well, mostly kids do that when they're learning stuff and they're like...
So you think kids do sometimes take advantage as well?
Yeah, they need to just tell... Like, I know Theresa May is taking away money, but she doesn't have to do that because at my school, Mousecombe Primary School, our things are broken, and we
so
have...
actually needs to be a bit more money put into it. Okay.
Good girl.
Okay, so there's a couple of points here. It's like, how do we provide for everybody? But if you provide for everybody, how do you stop people taking advantage of that? Bill, did you want to say something? Yeah.
I don't think... I'm sure there are people who play the system, no doubt about it. But the biggest players are people like Branson. They don't pay their taxes. If the huge money interests in this country could be cornered to pay the taxes that they actually owe and not avoid it, it would dwarf the amount of money that flows out of the system into people who, pretend to be unemployed but aren't.
Okay, so the real cheats of the system are the people not paying their tax. What do people think on this side? Do you agree with that? Come and have a seat on the table.
I want to ask where the good chips were.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should just say that we've got Rick visualising the conversation. He's just knocked up this one, which is a drunken cat enjoying socialism, drinking Tsingtao lager, a Chinese lager. Imported from all the way from China, and that's the wealth of the socialist state and the possibilities there. I don't know, it looks attractive to me anyway. Okay, so where are we going to go with this conversation? What do people think? I mean, we've probably not got that much longer here on the table of chat.
Had a great time, thank you.
Okay, well, hang on before you go. Give us a final thought. You've said a lot. You've contributed a lot. Give us a final thought on this. How do you think we can reach some of these goals that we're talking about? How do we actually get? You're talking about Richard Branson. I just want to say we don't really know about Richard Branson and his tax affairs, but we're just assuming that he's not paying tax for whatever reason. But someone like a rich entrepreneur that's avoiding paying taxes, how do we get them to actually contribute more? How do we get this fairer system?
Oh, take them to the law, change the law, make it less attractive for them to evade their taxes. Do you know that Branson has or is suing the NHS for a contract that he couldn't get to run some medical services? Do you realise that? Branson suing the NHS.
Okay, so not much love for Richard Branson here. Final thought, Bill?
Forget Branson.
Yeah.
He can, for Branson, read any number of people whose names you don't know. It's politics. We've got to support honest. If there are some honest politicians, support them, including politicians in the Tory party, and stop the avoidance And for God's sake, stop putting money into nuclear weapons.
Okay, so it's about what we spend money on as well. Thank you. Well, thanks for getting involved. I feel I don't know. I feel this is wrapping up anyway. I don't know. So let's get final thoughts from everybody, including you, Denise and Eloise and Michael and Alan and Stella. You've not said much. You've got a final thought? No. Have you Have you heard anything interesting today? Anything at all? No. Anything? Not really. Okay. Sylvia, final thought?
I think we all need to I think the whole country needs to get together and stick together. I think the biggest problem that we have is that everyone is so engrossed into their own little shell that we're not working together as a country, really.
Right. Okay. So it's more about thinking and working together.
Thinking, because the thing is, you know, taxpayer. And I've always said it. Come out of school, you go to work, you always work. You come out of school and you never work, you never have to work. And I think things like that need to be changed, and they need to look at it from starting from here and working right the way up to the top. Because the thing is, if they can start from here, work to the top, then the people like Branson wouldn't be able to get away with murder. So,
okay, so in a way, everyone's kind of, we're not thinking together.
Everyone needs to be together.
Everyone needs to put together more.
I think this is the biggest problem that we've got in this country now. It's just that, you know what, I'm all right, Jack, and it don't matter what's going on around me.
Okay.
And I think things will need to change. Yeah.
Final thought, Denise?
Well, after talking about Minecraft with 3 little girls this morning to a conversation like this, it was Minecraft, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Minecraft.
Cool. I call it Lego.
Minecraft, yeah.
And then a conversation like this, it's great to hear opinions and different thoughts as well. But on the great note, I'm going to get my handbag and I'm going to drive all the way home and go and get a glass of wine.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
So go home first and then get your glass of wine. Final thought?
Well, I like my school. It's, well, mostly I like the teachers there.
I mean, you were saying Theresa May is taking money away from the school. If she was going to write a cheque and buy something for the school, what should she buy?
Well, she should give the money back to the school. But if she doesn't do that, there's going to be a lot of trouble with her.
Yeah. but what is the school going to spend the money on if it gets it back?
More teachers and more chairs.
More chairs. Okay, need more chairs. Okay, fine. Alan, have you got a final thought?
No, not really. I'm quite happy to go along. No, it's been an interesting half an hour whenever we've been sitting down here. So no, it's actually been an interesting time. Just something. We're walking along and we're just something out of the blue, really. It's quite,
well,
quite
thanks.
good.
I mean, thanks for coming to get involved. It's been interesting for me as well. Final thought, Margot, Graham.
Final thought. I've just sat back down.
Okay, you've not been listening. Okay, all right. Well, we're closing up now. Closing up shop. Okay, well you've only got Margot's final thought left, unless this man wants to say something. No. And Michael as well.
Michael's got a final
of course,
thought.
I was saving you to the end.
Oh, is this shutting?
First thing is we should just we should quit being individuals. Is just forget it. We all see you later. We're on the same level as cows, and the sooner we embrace it, the better. That's one thing, and second thing, bring back the mermen and mermaids.
Okay.
Others.
Have mermen got others? Merfolk?
No, I don't think so. They're part fish, part human, so that makes no sense, Mikey.
All right. Okay, final thought?
Yeah. Quite simply, I think it boils down to be excellent to yourself and be excellent to each other, because together we are stronger.
How do we get more being excellence happening?
Accepting personal responsibility.
But we shout into the void.
Hang on, I'll give you the microphone.
Well, if we shout into the void together, then maybe the void will respond.
Oh, yes, Well, the void may respond. You have to believe in it, Graham.
It's a black hole.
Have you got a final thought?
It is a black hole. We're just shouting into this void. Nobody does anything anymore.
In which case, taxes don't matter, so don't propose to this bloke. Just forget it.
Okay, so now you've got your answer. Your proposal will just be a shout into the void. You're going to have to find something else to do in Rome. But, there's plenty of activities and attractions out there. Okay, any final thoughts? Rick, have you got a final thought?
Yes, here.
Eloise, final thought?
Well...
Do you believe in love?
Well, most things at the ocean...
Yeah.
Don't chuck rubbish in the sea, because well, it's very bad and they can suffocate.
Okay, watch out for the merfolk and all the fish and their fish friends. Have you got a final thought?
I just got a final question. What's it like to be a parent of a legendary child?
Okay, well we'll save that for the next one. This has been Talkaoke. We're packing up now. We've got to go and get the van.
Big round of applause to Mikey for running this whole gig.
No, it's not about me. It's about everybody else. Thanks everyone for taking part. I'm just going to go back into my van, drive back to Dalston, and worry about all the things that people have said. Thanks very much.